All right, so today's amend is called faking sleep. So just the context is I'm out of rehab. I'm maintaining sobriety. So I'm in college, not drinking or doing drugs, even though I have still I get along better with people who are. But I'm not doing it, and I think the same reason why people oh, I was drunk, I don't know what I was doing, so I didn't have that, what I perceived as a safety net of saying, I don't remember, I blacked out, I did this. Because here's the thing, somebody says they black out, how can you tell the difference? You can't. A real blackout versus somebody who's using a blackout, the phrase, as an excuse to not be accountable for their actions. I'm not saying that a person who really experienced a blackout is any less accountable for their actions, but there's no, like, one of them just said it, the other one actually experienced it. So to this point, I didn't have any type of intoxicating outlet to excuse my behavior. Even when, alcohol, I think sometimes, or drugs, bring false bravery to perhaps the people, in social, situations, with people that they're attracted to. So, sadly, my recourse was to, fake sleep. And what I mean by fake sleep is, I think I was at times I was sleeping and I woke up, but I pretended to continue being sleeping, or I pretended to be sleeping just so I would have the excuse of going, oh, I was sleeping, just in case it didn't work, just in case me saying things or hitting on someone or actions or something, So the specific amend is to a senior girl, when I was, I think, a sophomore. And over at her place late at night, I remember her roommates would like to enjoy drinking wine, and I wasn't, I remember seeing, like, people in their early 20s drinking wine, oh, so sophisticated. That's how dismissive I was. I mean, everything was a show, everything was a put on, nothing was real, nothing was authentic, so why should I be? And anyway, I was always tired. I think, dealing with my own stuff, I was always tired, just exhausted. But I'd fallen asleep at her in her room, and when she went to wake me up, I went ahead and went for the kissing, and that worked well. So we kept on going, but it's still it's not a it's an inauthentic expression, and it worked, but it's still not being accountable, and it's not saying, hey, let's do this, or not even, hey, let's do it verbally, like, as in, oh, let's have a meeting and do it, but just being brave enough to take the step and not wanting to get rejected. Where nowadays, I don't mind getting rejected. I don't care. I'll actually, go for it, or, verbally ask permission, or actually go for it, and one time, and if it works, great. I mean, I don't try to persevere past that, because it gets too heady for me. Intuition, am I right, am I wrong? But back then, I felt that the faking sleep thing was almost like a tether, like a safety net, for me to have some sort of moral or ethical salvation from feeling like a piece of shit, because of me knowing what, that the motives were, it was like, bad faith. It was just the motives were different, and I was doing something to pretend I was doing something else, just to be able to use something as an excuse to be able to get some. And because I didn't have alcohol or drugs as the easy way out, I had to, I chose to pretend, something else. And it was just because I just didn't, once again, it's just that thematic aspect of not wanting to be accountable, not wanting to, have the wherewithal to know that I was doing it for this reason, already feeling guilty, because I knew, clearly if I'm already going to be manipulating myself, then I already am having issue with the original motive, right? So I'm having issue with the original motive. I'm already manipulating myself, so the original motive doesn't come out. So there's already a bad faith. And then on top of which, I'm trying to convince somebody else that oh no, I was sleeping. Yeah, I really was. Oh. Rather than just taking the plunge, having some balls. Let me rephrase that. Not ball, because I don't mean to say that overused phrase, but just having just courage, simple accountable courage, wanting to get to know somebody. There it is, physical, mental, emotional, however, verbal, whatever. Just saying, hey, this is where it is. I want to get to know you, or expressing oneself in an action. And here's the funny thing is, where's my doubt? This woman is inviting me over to her place, inviting me over into her room. I'm allowed to sleep on her bed, and yet I'm still having questions internally that maybe she doesn't like me. And this was thematically throughout, with other types of experiences where I would fake sleep, and she wasn't the only one that I'm specifically thinking of. There were, sophomore years, junior, just throughout college, just because of just not wanting to be accountable or wanting an excuse. We are all accountable. I'm accountable regardless of whether or not I want the accountability or not. And there's my actions. I did them. Own it. But sometimes I think we want the excuse, even if there's not a good one, or even if there's even if there isn't an excuse. And so I'm looking for one to save me back then. And it's at the expense of another person, because gut instinct, people are not stupid, they feel it. Why give a runaround? But I did. And so to any woman that I've ever faked sleep with, this is probably college, can't imagine any other instance. There were other times where I actually genuinely fell asleep. I didn't even try anything. I just but that's what I'm getting at. It's the motive. It's me knowing the difference of when I did it in my late 20s versus then. And in my late 20s, I wasn't even looking for anything. I just happened to pass out, and that's what happened, where it wasn't the motive, where she initiated it. But this is where I was using it in a very cognitive way. And this is what I'm getting about these amends, is these are amends composed of two things. A, I was never able to reach out to that person. I don't know where they are. I can't find it. It's too many people. It's a collective. It's too late, in a sense. What am I going to do? Bring it up? I've made amends to other people where they don't remember it. But these amends are for that, and they're for being cognitive and aware of the fact that I was doing it dirty in that sense. Some people are just like, they want to be scumbags, and they're scumbags, and they're fine with it. I'm an asshole. You know how I am. No, I knew that I was an asshole, and I was trying to get away with it, and get away with not being one, or not being perceived as one. So there's the amend, and that's what it is. Faking sleep. It could also be viewed as symbolic. Faking sleep as in pretending one is not aware, one is not conscious of one's actions. So maybe it means on that level. So thank you for listening.